In my opinion, there is no better way to mix music than the one that comes from the workflow out of the mixing console. And Harrison Mixbus is a DAW that actually has that very workflow as part of the whole experience. Since every channel that you create is gonna come loaded with the built-in channel strip out of the recreation of the Harrison Mixbus console. And in this video you're gonna see me using the channel strips equalizer to push the sound of the snare forward and make it sound better, thicker, and simply put, improving the sound of the mix overall. Just be mindful that what you're about to see is just an extract from a full live stream in which I'm mixing a song from start to finish. So if you want to see the full session, there is a link in the description of this video. Let's get into it now. Okay, good. Now the freaking claps. They are also kinda too much when it comes to the high end. Listen to them. Super bright. Again, it's not a clap, it's a snare. But it's way too bright, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. So what to do? In this case, I think I'm gonna work with my EQs. So here we go. I think I'm gonna go to the other section of the mixing desk so you can see everything. Yes, over here. We're gonna be dealing now with first. Let's try the filter, low pass filter, because I want to make this snare a little bit more bottom endy. And also removing a little bit of the sizzliness of it. Here we go. Pay attention to the sound. Solo first so we can get an idea what's going on. Very good, right?
Yep.
These filters are just fantastic. And I think you mentioned, Robbie, that they are selling now the filters as a 500 series module, right?
It's awesome.
No, I'm gonna get them, man. These are way too good. Now let's see in the mix. I'm gonna open up once again, and we're gonna cut to taste, but now based on the understanding of what it's doing to the sound of the snare. Here we go. Tasteful, right? So tasty. Very good. Those filters alone you can mix a record with the filters, Frank. Don't you think?
Yeah, they're that good.
They're that good. Okay, now let's do a little bit of EQ into the sound again. This is I'm gonna solo it again just for you to have an idea. And again, one thing. I always when I solo stuff during the live streams, it's because I want you to get used to the sound, so you can have a clear idea of what's is gonna be happening after I begin moving my fingers around, right? But I never recommend you, or if I put it in a different way, I always recommend you to mix in the context of the mix, especially when you're EQing, because what do you do with an EQ? Thiago, could you remind us what an EQ does? Now that you're an expert on this?
Am I? I never knew I was.
Well,
but if you say so, an EQ basically controls volume, but based on frequencies.
Yes. Do you mean amplitude?
Amplitude, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, actually, yeah, he's
Loudness.
correct. But in proper in lamer term, in much more pedestrian level terms, if I put it that way, yeah, it controls the output or the intensity of a signal based on the frequency selected. Okay, with that in mind, when you EQ, you can bring up or take down the levels of your signal, but attacking a particular frequency range. If you do it without the rest of the context of the mix, you can overdo it or underdo it. Or simply put, you can do stupid moves that go nowhere, and as soon as you think you got a very good sounding snare, for example, in this case, and then you remove the solo, and it sounds like shit. Why? Because you never did it in the context of the mix. You mix it by itself. So, just a pro tip. Now, let's listen to it. What do I want to do with this guy? Let's add a little bit of low end. So, in this case, I'm going to use the low frequency band over here. These guys. And the plan is going to be maybe, I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to do the old Sweeparoo. How was that?
Yeah.
That was excellent, right?
Yeah, very good.
Again, this is the reason why you should mix on Mixbus. It's simply fantastic. And look, we're mostly using the stuff that comes in the console. It's because the console itself is fantastic. Okay, now let's add definition. In this case, I'm going to be using maybe this band, the high band. So I'm going to be working maybe, sorry, that wasn't the right one, maybe somewhere there, 1,000 something, I don't care. I don't give a damn. Why? Because I'm going to use my ears. And I'm going to be bringing this up just to add a little bit of the extra. Get me? Pay attention to that section of the snare. Could you hear the difference? God damn it!
Yeah, it wasn't even that subtle.
No. This way, and look. Let me show you how little I pushed. Look. But why? Again, guesstimate, not necessarily. Is ear training. Okay. I put the frequency. I attack that particular section. Why? First and foremost, I know the sound of these EQs. Secondly, experience has shown me that that particular section of the sound will usually be found somewhere around that part. And you saw how little I pushed. Like, I don't know, let's say, according to Mixbus, 1.7 dBs. And the difference was insane.
Yeah.
So good. Now, let's see if we can carve a little bit of holes in the mid-range, especially in the low mids, just to make it a little bit more, a little bit, adding a little bit of extra space for the low end, the beefiness of the snare to cut through. Make sense? Let's see. Here we go. That is ugly, right?
Yeah.
But could you see the difference between the good section that is very close to it? Because if when I went a little bit lower in the frequency range,
Yeah.
we started to get to a point in which actually this band, even though it's overdone, was adding weight, right?
I think that I think you're operating very close to the core of the sound of the snare there. So
Exactly.
a little bit ahead.
That's
a little
why
bit.
I pushed it a little bit much more on the brighter side of things. So let's see. I'm gonna push it back, center stage, bringing back the rest of the mix, and then we're gonna cut to taste. And what Thiago says is very correct. We're very close to the good stuff, so we gotta be very careful. I'm gonna cut very little, and then maybe push my filter or this band a little bit higher in frequency. So here we go. Wow, right?
Yeah. No, very good.
That was good. And let me show you once again the little moves we did. That was a bit much more barbaric because we're pushing a bit more. We're cutting 2.8. So
Yeah, it's a considerable cut.
It's much more considerable. But again, don't be afraid of when mixing, especially when you're working with equalizers that are based on hardware. Push it. Because I know that it looks horrible when you got a digital EQ, like, I don't know, split EQ, and you got this crazy ass curve that looks like, no, I mean, I'm clearly doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But in this case, this kind of equalizer is designed in a way that allows you to actually, or expecting you to go nuts at times. Okay, so don't be afraid. We're not doing that in this particular mix, at least in this sound. But now that we cut and made the sound of the snare even better, I feel that I can actually push a little bit more my low band, okay? The first one we worked on, okay? Pay attention to it in the context again. Now pay attention to, okay? Let's see if we can make it a little bit more deeper sounding. I don't know. It could work, it could not. What do you think?
I like it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Because it's a little bit heftier, right?
Yeah, but it's still snappy.
It's snappy. Now, I think I can actually improve the sound of it a little bit more by either applying compression, but the sound is already kind of compressed, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it sounds compressed. So I would like to add a little of extra distortion to it, just a tiny bit. And we're already working with the distortion of the console. I like it. I'm gonna keep it on. but I want a little bit more. So let's try a plugin. In this case, I'm gonna go for.
Or have a dirty bus.
Wow, we do, right? Let me try this first, okay?
Okay.
Because I would like to use the what's the name of the guy creator? It's Sound Toys and Radiator. No, little. What's the name of the guy, man? David Locke, obviously. Here it is. Damn,
That's big.
that's big. It's because they released an update that now allows you to change the size of the plugins that I welcomed.
Yeah, freaking finally.
Finally, okay, David Locke, not to be confused with the Level Lock. And as the name implies, it's a fan favorite of mine, and it's a compressor that makes everything uglier. So first, I'm gonna back off the gain, the mix, and I'm gonna maybe add a little bit of crunch, and then I'm gonna crush it. And those are the actual controls.
In the darkness.
And maybe a darkness. And we're gonna add it to taste. Let's see how it first. But first and foremost, let me make sure that I don't have it after fader, okay? That would be very dumb. Okay, here we go. Pressing play and adding Devil Lock. Can you hear that?
The kind of motion.
Yeah, it's part of the sample.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that audible.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said while I was messing around with the plugin, a little bit goes places, right?
Yeah.
We
yeah.
got a way better mix just by having it there. This is the right amount in my opinion. And see how little I push it to 2. Let's see if we can take it a little bit closer to the sun, and see what happens. Right? I'm soloing it just for you to have an idea of what kind of effect this guy is having. I don't know about you, but that sounds better.
That sounds cool. Let's see how it goes in
Yes,
context.
in context. Here we go. No. Look, this is a prime example of what I just said. Never mix in solo, because in solo it sounded badass, right?
Yeah.
But in the context, like, the hell?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, it was too much, man. So I'm gonna back it off. We were happy at 2.
Yeah.
Like it.
Like it. Yeah.
Very, very much.